gooseberry or amla, a simple fruit. Outer part epicarp, inner edible mesocarp, and then there will be an endocarp, and inside you will be able to find a very tough seed. Here you can see this is the pericarp of the fruit formed from the wall of the ovary and a hard seed inside, gooseberry. For most of you it will be difficult to accept drumstick as a fruit. Most of my friends have told drumstick is a stem, but it's not a stem. If you cut open the drumstick, you can find a seed, right? So definitely it is a fruit, and it's a simple fruit. Why? Because this is ovary. This is a very long ovary. The ovary has elongated and become like this, enclosing the seeds, and it is formed from a single flower. This outer peel of drumstick is the epicarp. That fleshy white region is the mesocarp, and inner endocarp with a seed with wings. See, here you can see outer green epicarp, mesocarp, endocarp, and the seeds inside. And seeds, you can see they are seeds with wings. Why? Because once the ovary is mature, once this fruit is mature, this pericarp will dry, they will burst open and releases the seeds, and these seeds can be easily carried by the wind. So that is why it is having these kind of wings. This is the wings of the seed to make it lightweight. This is a slice of pumpkin. Even this is also a fruit. This type of fruit is called as pepo. Why? Because it is having a thick rind. This is a very thick rind which we generally peel off, which is, this rind is actually the epicarp. This edible part is the mesocarp, and inner part is the endocarp, and you can find lot of seeds inside. Lot of seeds inside, and this is a pepo because it is having a thick rind and also many seeds inside. This is called as a pepo. Now this is a coconut, everyone knows about it. This is also a fruit. Now which part is the fruit? Which is the edible part? The edible part is the inner white soft fleshy thing which we eat it. That is actually the endosperm of this fruit, which is a part of a seed. So the white part and the materials present inside is actually the seed. This fibrous part which you can see, these are all the sclerenchyma fibers which make up the mesocarp of the fruit. So this fibrous part of this coconut is actually the mesocarp. And which one is endocarp? Endocarp is this. You can hear the sound. This is very hard. The endocarp of coconut is very hard and it looks like a stone. So such type of a fruit where the endocarp is like very hard and stony, it is called as a drupe. So this is a drupe fruit. And the outer part of coconut, generally if it's a young coconut, it will be green in color. That outer green part is the epicarp. This fibrous part is the mesocarp, and this hard shell is the endocarp, and inside you will be able to find the seed. Even this is also simple fruit because this is also formed from a single ovary. What is this? This is a corn cob or corn ear. What are these green leafy like structures which you can see? Commonly called as a husk of corn, but this is the bract of the inflorescence. Now what are these yellow color tiny structures? These are the fruits, and each of them are formed from separate carpels. There were flowers before, they underwent fertilization and they became the pistil became the fruit, and inside the fruit there is a seed. But here in the case of this kernel or the fruit of corn, the fruit wall and the seed wall is actually very closely fused together. So we can say it is a grain. So grains are something where the fruit wall and the seed wall will be very close together, they are fused together and has a seed inside or embryo inside. What are these? This is commonly called a silk. These are called as silk fibers of corn, but they are the style. These are actually the style of female flowers. So if you open it, so you can see this look like silk fiber. So commonly they are called as silk of corn, but they are the style of the female flower. So all these were female flowers before, and the style is persistent here, and this is the style of the female flower. And what has happened to the ovary of the female flower? Each ovary has become a kernel which is edible. So in the case of corn, this whole structure is an inflorescence. Many flowers on a single floral axis, and each flower will develop into a fruit. Apple, this is a false fruit. Do you know why? Because this fleshy part which you eat, the part which is edible is actually the thalamus. You can see this is a stalk. And where is the thalamus? The thalamus has enlarged like this and became very fleshy, and the outer part of thalamus became colorful like this, red in color because of the red color pigment. So this is the thalamus part. And where is the fruit? This is the fruit wall. You can see here this part, this is actually the fruit part of it, the pericarp. This is the pericarp, and inner endocarp is very thin and transparent. This part is the endocarp. This part is endocarp, and onto the endocarp you can find the seeds attached like this. These are the seeds, tiny apple seeds attached. So these structures are the endocarp, this transparent thin area. And at this tip you will be able to find the persistent calyx also. Here you can see this is a calyx. You can see the persistent calyx, and sometimes even the stamens can also be seen here. Stamens and stigma can also be seen at this part. It's a false fruit. Custard apple, which is an aggregate fruit. Why? Because it is formed from many pistils on a single flower. So initially it was just a single flower like this, which had many pistil, apocarpus, multicarpellary ovary, and all these pistils enlarged and became, the ovary wall ripened and became pericarp, and thus they formed a single fruit like this. And each of these sections, polygonal sections that you can see here, these are all called as a fruitlets. This is one fruitlet, second fruitlet, third fruitlet, like that. So if you cut open like this, you will be able to find a tiny fruit inside. So each sections are actually representation of a fruitlet inside. See, look at this. What is this? This is the thalamus part. Stalk was here, and this is the thalamus part, which has enlarged into a conical shaped structure which is non-edible. And what are these? These are all the flowers whose ovaries got matured into pericarp. So this fleshy, soft, white, custardy part is actually the fruitlet. So this one is actually a fruitlet. So many fruitlet like this forms a cluster together, aggregate together and form a fruit. So from outside it looked like a single fruit, but it's actually a cluster of many fruitlet. That is why you can see when you cut open this fruitlet, you will be able to find a seed inside. So this black color thing which you can find is a seed. It's a pineapple, which is a multiple fruit, which is also called as sorosis. Why it is called as a multiple fruit? Because it is formed from an inflorescence. There was a floral axis and many flowers. Each flower had one pistil. Each flower developed into a fleshy structure which combined together to form a single fruit like structure which is called as a pineapple, and this type of fruit is called a sorosis. Now these spiny outer region, what you can see here, these are all the bract of these flowers. These are the bracts of the flower, and each polygonal part which you can see here, this is one polygonal compartment, this is another one. So these polygonal structures are all actually the flowers which later ripened into a fruit. So this was a flower before, so each one was a flower before, and these are the bracts. Okay. Now what is this part? This part is a crown of pineapple, which is basically the bract of the inflorescence. The green, this is not a leaf, this is a bract of inflorescence, tiny leaf like structures. And this one which you can see here, this is the axis, peduncle of the fruit. As you can see here, this center part which we generally don't eat, this is the axis of inflorescence on which separate flowers will be there. So this is one flower. See, you can see here, this is one flower. This is another flower. So these are all flowers, but right now they have all matured. The pistils have matured into fruit, and all these fruits got combined together and looks like a single fruit. Now what is this edible fleshy part of pineapple? These are the sepals, the bract and thin ovary wall. All these things became fleshy, juicy and sweet in taste, and they combine together like this and give the appearance of a fruit. Now what are these parts, this is actually the nectar gland of pineapple which produces nectar. So this is a nectar gland from, and here at this part you will be able to see the stamens. So it's actually a flower. Okay, here you can see all these structures which you can see. You can see the stigma, you can see the stamen, all these things here which we generally don't eat. Okay, we remove this part, isn't it? We eat only this fleshy part, and this fleshy part is mainly the sepals, bract and the ovary which became ripened and became yellowish and juicy. And these are the bract of the inflorescence, and this is the inflorescence axis. So since many fruits are combined together here, and each fruit was developed from separate single flowers on an inflorescence, it is called as a multiple fruit. This is a jackfruit, a small size of a young jackfruit which has not yet ripened, but still this is called as a multiple fruit because it is formed from many flowers borne on single inflorescence. And the central axis of jackfruit, which is non-edible, it is the inflorescence axis, and these separate things, compartments that you can see is actually a flower. Now which one is a flower? I'll just take it out and show it to you. And one more thing, outside this it will be green in color and spiny. What are they? They are the stigmas of the flowers. Okay, and this part, the edible part, the yellow color, orange color edible part of jackfruit is actually the perianth. Now what exactly is a perianth? Perianth is a fusion of calyx and corolla. So in the case of jackfruit, calyx and corolla, that is petals and sepals, are fused together to form a thick fleshy structure which is called as perianth. So this here it is almost a creamish in color, whereas once it is ripened it becomes yellow or orange in color. So that is actually the perianth that we are eating. Okay, and inside the perianth you will be able to find the seeds. So this is a seed. So these structures which again we don't eat, which surrounds the fruit of jackfruit, this is the sepals and the bract of the flower. Okay, these are the sepals and bract of the flower. Sorry. So this is how a jackfruit looks like. Once it is ripened, this part completely turns yellow or orange, and these structures which we don't eat it, non-edible part, this is the bract of the flower. Now the sepal and the petal of the flower has fused together to form a thick perianth, and this perianth is the one which we are eating. So I'll remove these bracts. So the bracts are removed, and this is the perianth which is fleshy. Now if I open the perianth, we will be able to see a fruit inside. So this is a fruit. Now which is a fruit? This thin, skinny, leathery part which you can see is a fruit. See, I've taken out the fruit. This is the perianth. So this is the edible part, which is a fusion of both sepals and petals. Which is a fruit? Fruit, the wall of the ovary is this leathery skin. This is also non-edible, we don't eat it. So this is the wall of the ovary. It is not fleshy, it is just thin and leathery. And inside that you will be able to find the seed. This is the seed coat. Seed coat, and once you open the seed coat, you will be able to find the seed, and this is the endosperm of it. This is also, jackfruit is also a multiple fruit which is called as sorosis, and you can see here it secretes a sticky, gummy latex. See, you can see this is a latex, and these are all the bracts of the flowers. So many flowers were there here, and these are all the bract of the flower, which is generally not edible. Only the perianth becomes edible, and even the seed also is edible. Even the fruit wall we don't use it. We throw the fruit wall, and this part also we don't use it. But for nowadays the young jackfruit, the whole part of jackfruit is being used. Once it is ripened, we use only the perianth and the seeds. Thank you. I hope everything is clear for you now. Thank you.